What is up YouTube? Welcome to Digital Perspective, and in today's video, you ever had that moment where you looked at a posting, whether you're on Dribbble or Behance, and you really like some things that some designers done and you just don't know how to do it? Well, fear not. Today I'm going to go through some things in terms of how I would have done some design techniques, looking at some people's designs on Dribbble, and maybe give you some tips and tricks along the way. And if you're ready, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on, because we're about to get started. Let's go. So you can see in these first pictures, I'm going to be focusing on creating this credit card icon, which is a Dribbble post by Gulan Rasul. I definitely recommend checking his work out. He does some really good work. I'm going to focus on two things. I'm going to focus on how he created maybe this kind of gradient effect on this credit card icon, but more or less he's done another post where he's created this really lovely kind of, glass blur effect on the back of a credit card. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using Adobe XD to do this, but you can use Photoshop, Illustrator, Figma or Sketch to do this. Just to save time, I've already got some of the assets here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag some of these things here for myself. I'm just going to make this icon white. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the credit card, right? So it's going to be about there. I'm going to corner the edges. I don't want the blur on there. What I do want is I want the credit card color, right? Now obviously he's used a certain type of color. You can use absolutely any color you want. Again, this is just us going through how we could create a similar effect rather than just copying his design, right? We're not here to just copy, we're here to just figure out maybe how he would have done it. MasterCard. Now ideally I'd recommend you use the MasterCard official logo, but since we're not trying to mimic it 100%, we're just going to use something similar. We're just going to create our own version. So we've got it there, and then we've got the chip icon at the top corner. Now obviously you can get these chip icons from anywhere. Now I've got this from Icon Finder, which is completely free, obviously with attribution. And I'm just going to put some fake credit card details in there. Okay. And I'm going to make the size bigger a little bit, drag it to the side middle, and then after that we may have, I don't know, my name maybe a little bit smaller, and then at the top of that we're going to have maybe card holder, and then drag that a lot smaller than that there, right? And very quickly we've got the desired effect. Now one thing he's done, which let me just go back, is he's also created another credit card in the background which has a slight dark color on it, and that's very simple to achieve. Just copy the credit card, select the base color. Now I'm going to group this, push it back here, and then I'm just going to shift it backwards. Now for me, shifting here is control and then close brackets, open brackets, I beg your pardon, and that's just the way to do it, and that's how he's done it. So now let's focus on perhaps maybe creating this blur effect using the same credit cards, right? So I'm just going to copy these credit cards and push it down. Now, I haven't copied everything. Let me try this again. Hold the Alt Shift key, drag everything down. Now with this credit card, I want it to be in orange colors just so that we can see the background, right? And in this card, I'm going to make it black. Now inside of XD, if you're using XD to do this, what you want to do is you have this option here in the bottom right corner where it says background blur. Just give that a click and instantly magic, right? Now obviously we want to turn the brightness down a little bit just to match it, but ultimately it's as simple as that, and that's how you create that effect. So what we're going to do now is we're going to focus on another one. This one here we're going to focus on is basically how you would create this sort of a color effect on top of maybe icons. It's a colorful effect. I've seen people do this quite often now, and I'm going to show you how you can quickly achieve this thing as well. Now in our version, we're not going to use Clash of Clans icons. We are going to use movie posters, right? So I'm just going to quickly create a movie poster holder. Just do that. Repeat grid. Let's say we want, I don't know, 3 posters, right? And then inside of XD, you've got a plugin which is called Movie Posters. I select that. Let's say I want movies from 2018, and I want them to be, I don't know, animation. Generate them, and then all of a sudden you've got the posters, right? It's fantastic. Saves you time having to Google this. So now the trick is, what do we do with the colors in the background? How do we achieve that? So I'm going to copy all 3 posters, and similar to what we did with the credit card, I'm going to click on the background blur, but instead of background blur, we want object blur. Now what that's done is it's created a blur inside of the actual objects themselves. Now I'm going to size each one down a little bit, purely because I don't want them to be too big. And here's the best part. Select all 3 posters, drag it on top, and make sure it sits on top of it. And then before you know it, voila, you have it there. You have this nice colorful effect underneath each posters. Now what you can do also is, if you select the, let me select the Grinch one. If you select it, you can actually just give it a solid color as well. Now let's say maybe I want it to just be green, right? You can do that, right? And it's as simple as that. That's how you would do that. Let's go to the next one. And the next one here is, you've got this kind of really lovely pull-out when it comes to this shopping basket, where you've got a wish list and a basket on top of this product image, and we want to create a similar thing to that there, right? So again, very similar. We're just going to quickly create this product, which is that there. Now I've already had the liberty of just maybe change it to a slight color gray. I've had the liberty of just getting an image of an armchair from Google, put that here, and then maybe, I don't know, give it a title, to say armchair, and it's worth, I don't know, 99. Oh, what happened to my screen? There we go. It's worth $99, right? Just make it big. I don't know, maybe make the colors black. There we go. Don't need that. And then here's the magic. Here's what we need to do. So we're going to hold the Alt key and Shift key and drag it across, so we have another duplicate of it. Now I don't need it to be that long, so I'm just going to shorten the distance, put it behind it, select the color, but I need it to be behind the actual base, right? So that's what we do. That's what we have here. Maybe make that a little bit smaller, drag that to the background. And again, we do the same thing. We repeat it, Shift and Alt key, change the color and move it to the back. Now once we have that, all we need to do now is add the fonts, right? Now I'm going to use Font Awesome for this, just to save me some time. We have a heart icon, and then for this one, we need to have a shopping basket. And there we go, right? Obviously, make them white in this instance, and there you have it, right? Obviously, the thing you have to understand here is you need to make sure that you take a lot more time and care into this, right? In terms of white space, compositing, font sizes, and typography, the right font selection, etc., color choices. All of these things have to go into decision and choices when you're actually designing. Now, obviously, we're just going ahead and thinking about how maybe they would have done some of the design elements, and that's essentially what we're doing here. The next one we want to do is we want to do this shape here on this icon, where you've got this little pull-up kind of shape there. So what we want to do here is, now obviously he's got 2 icon buttons here. I'm just going to make them blue for now. And then in the middle one, we want to extend it. We want to make a really big one. I don't want to sit it in the middle. I just want to sit it slightly above the middle. And I think I've got the color. Yeah, I've got the color here. Now once we have that, this is where we use the pen tool inside of XD, right? We want to grab it right in the middle, and then we want to bend it. While holding the Shift key, it actually locks the angles in, right? And then it doesn't matter how you close it really, we just want to close it. And then we want to make sure that it has the same color as the circle. Hold the Shift and Alt key, duplicate that, flip it, so now that it sits on there. And then now that it sits on both sides, select all 3 shapes, merge the paths together, and here's where the clever bit is. I'm going to unlock the phone template, copy it, paste it so that it sits on top of everything. I'm going to first select the image in the background and then select the phone shape here, and then we're masking it essentially. And that's what essentially it does for us. Now obviously what you can do then is you can have your button sit there, no problem, and then obviously if you want, click on it, you can change this to whatever color you want ultimately, right? And that's how you would achieve a similar effect to this. Now obviously if you're using something like Illustrator, you'd have a much finer control on your paths and stuff. Obviously XD is a little bit limited, but it achieves the similar results. And the last one we're going to do is we're going to do this indent swipe box here. You can see on these boxes here. So the way we do that, very simple. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to create a box. I'm going to round the corners up a little bit. I'm going to use a gradient. I'm going to turn the borders off. But the gradient, this is the bit you have to remember, that when you're doing the gradient, you always want to have the dark side to the bottom left or the bottom right, on this side essentially, and you want to have the light side to the opposite direction. And the reason why you want to do that is because now when we create the swipe section, I want that completely circle, just drag it to the end. The reason why we do that is now when we select the same color, you can see you almost already got an indent, but I want it to be a little bit more controlled. I want to put the light section in where the dark section was on the other side, and I want to put the dark section where the light section was on this side as well, right? And then all we need to do is go ahead and just maybe take the same shape, make it smaller, probably fill it with the color white, solid color white, drag it in there, maybe make it a little bit smaller and height wise. About there. I mean, I to make sure you have a little bit more control with it. And obviously if you want to add swipe to start, right? Botto, and maybe just make it medium with a solid blue color, right? Make it small. And if you really wanted, you can also add, you can be really clever about it and just add some chevron right, I believe. Let me just double check. Font awesome. Oh, wrong one. We want the free solid ones. Yeah, you know, you can add that in there as well. I mean, ideally you can just really copy the text. Oh yeah, right. You can put that in there if you wanted to, maybe make that white as well, and then just turn the opacity down, right? It's simple as that really. And again, if you duplicate, oh, I'm just gonna hold the Alt key, duplicate. Oh, why is it not letting me? There we go. Duplicate that, and I can quickly change the colors to the other colors that I have in there as well, and it would automatically have a very similar desired effect essentially. Oh, just select everything, Alt and Shift, drag that. Now obviously because XD remembers the angle of your linear gradients, it doesn't actually mess around with it too much, so it keeps it in place essentially for you. But yeah, there you have it. So hopefully these 5 tips and tricks helped you, and maybe this might allow you to make some design changes into your own designs and maybe use them in your own creative way. But again, like I said, make sure that you take the time to think about all the other elements, compositing, typography, white spaces, and all that other good stuff, just to make sure that your design is really tightened and looks good. But yeah, if you are here and you want more content, be sure to check out some of the videos that we have there. And while you're here, hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a lot, and turn the notification bells on. Yeah, hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.